So things we will be covering today is, so what is digital forensics and cybersecurity, and why should you have a career in that field? Some of the best universities across the globe to complete your master's. There are different career opportunities, and so what are they and how you can excel in those different career paths. What would it take to become a cyber pro? What kind of technical skills do you require? And so there are multiple resources out there, which are free, of course, and how you can access them. And then once you have learned a lot, how you can present to your recruiter that I know my subject topic. Moving on. So what is cybersecurity and digital forensics? So cybersecurity is the art of protecting networks, devices, and data from unauthorized access or criminal use, and the practice of ensuring confidentiality, integrity, and availability of information. So this is the definition given by CISA. So CISA is one of the organizations under ISACA, which is again an information security agency. And this is the definition given by them. And for digital forensics, the process used to acquire, preserve, analyze, and report on evidences using scientific methods that are reliable, accurate, and can be repeated in the court of law. But in this modern world, digital forensics is beyond the court. Every company, they have their own internal digital forensics team to investigate different breaches, do a post breach artifact study, and all. Like, there are different things outside the code also. So what's the importance of cybersecurity and forensics? So with respect to IT, security plays a crucial role in protecting any data. So all the data which you are giving to any company or any organization or to the government, it's classified as PII, is personal identifiable information. So all companies, they work really hard to protect your data, because if there is a data breach, that means they are losing your confidential information, which is not acceptable according to any government rules and regulations. And if they do, they have to pay a hefty amount of price, like in millions or billions, depending on the scale of the breach. So a company's priorities has always been protecting the sensitive information, which makes the cybersecurity and forensics as a very critical area and also a very good career option. So the importance of cybersecurity and forensics. So back in 2018, there were multiple breaches, one of which were our Aadhaar card breach. I'm pretty sure many of you have heard about it, which exposed around 1.1 billion of PII, 1.1 billion of consumer information. And then we have Twitter, Google, Facebook, even they had major security breaches. And that pushed them to increase their security standards and implement more security features. So why should you have a career in cybersecurity and forensics? In the last 5-6 years, last 6 years, back in 2017, it was predicted that the security industry after 2021 would be around $1 trillion in USD. But if you see the valuation now, it's way more than $1 trillion. So, and it will be growing throughout the next coming years. So it's a very secure option. Also, you can contribute a lot to the society by becoming a cybersecurity consultant. As you can see, it says 71% expect cybersecurity budgets to increase in the next 3 years. And that would be the expected amount right now is doubling. So in next 3 years, the amount would become 2 trillion. So what are the different components, like the different areas in cybersecurity? There is network security, there is consumer security, data security, cloud security, infrastructure, IAM, which is the identity access management, and application security. So these are all the amount they have spent in this column, amount they have spent in millions in each of these security areas. As you can see, most of the amount has been spent in infrastructure protection, because all companies, they want to build their infrastructure very securely, like all their DBs, all their hardwares and everything. They want to implement security in all those areas, because that's where they store your data. So any kind of breach, they'll expose the whole data set. And the next one is the network security. Because, okay, so I have saved my data in a very secure DB, but then I have to also transfer my data to different servers, different branches, different other institutes. So how do I do that? I'll be doing that using a network. So if I'm securing the DB, but I'm not securing the network, that means when I'm passing on information to a different server, the information can be tracked and can be hacked. So that's why the second most spending is in the network division, where you spend a lot of money to secure your network connections, which can be your modem, can be your server, can be your complete line. And next we have some of the best universities where you can do your masters. In the States, Carnegie Mellon is a very renowned university for their masters in information security. You have in Illinois State Institute of Technology, the master's degree is quite valued because they have around 3 to 4 different kinds of master's degree, specializing in cyber forensics and security, just cyber security and just cyber forensics, depending on your area of interest. And in UK, you have University of Birmingham, University of York, Lancaster, Kent, Royal Holloway, University of London. In the Oceania region, so the Australia and New Zealand, we call it as Oceania region, where you have Monash, Griffith, AUT, University of Auckland. And you have to keep in mind when you're applying that the requirements, like the entry requirements for all these universities is quite different, which I'll be covering up later. So what are the different career paths in cybersecurity and digital forensics? So back in 2021, STANS, which is one of the organizations I'll be talking about later, they released a chart about what are the top 20 most coolest careers in cyber. You can see there is threat hunting, red teaming, digital forensic analyst, purple team, malware analyst, CISO, blue teaming, security architect, and so on. So there are multiple career options. So when I say that you should have a career in cybersecurity, that does not mean that you become just a cybersecurity person. There are multiple areas within cybersecurity which you can explore. If anyone's interested in hardcore hacking, we call it as red teamers. So they are paid just to break into different organizations, different servers, different networks. And then we have the blue teaming. So as a blue teamer, you implement different security protocols to protect an organization from an attack. For example, I don't know if you guys have heard of SIEM software or SIEM software. So you use different kinds of solutions to protect your organization. Then if you are interested in something like, okay, so we have been hacked. We were not able to protect our organization from hacking. So what do we do next? So there we have incident response team, which is the number 9, where you have members who will be researching the different artifacts that they will have gotten from the breach. Then you have digital forensic expert, which will be doing the same thing. And then you have intrusion detection analyst who will be checking, okay, so what would have caused that breach? And they will be providing that information to the red teamer and the blue teamer to see if they can implement different controls. Okay, so in cybersecurity, we call a solution as control. So every time I use control, that means I'm talking about a solution. So the red teamer or the blue teamer would think about, okay, what kind of controls I can implement to protect the organization, protect the data. Then you have security awareness officer. So security awareness officer generally teaches the whole organization about different security frameworks, different security controls that are there in place. So if you're not really into like hands-on stuff, like, okay, so I don't want to become a hacker, I don't want to become a blue teamer, but I'm still interested in cybersecurity. What do? You can become a security awareness officer or a trainer. That's in the 15th one. And then there are different pen testers. Like, again, pen tester is like penetration testing. It's a part of the red teaming, but it's not that in depth. Like in red teaming, you use different codes, like you kind of hack into the code level, and application, like as a pen tester, you would hack into the particular domain. Like if you're an application pen tester, you would only hack into application. If you are a web pen tester, you will be only hacking into the web app. like that. So these are the different career opportunities. So how would you, so what would you pursue to reach where you want to go? Like if you want to become a malware analyst, so what would be the path be like? This is a more diversified diagram of the different domains. What would be the end result? What should be the path you should be taking? For example, as I said, if you are not into hands-on, you can always go for these kind of career opportunities where you teach people about cybersecurity or forensics. Then you have security operations where you work with a team to defend your organization or notify the organization about a breach or do a post-breach artifact study. You have a pen testing team who does the risk assessment and red teaming and the different vulnerability scans and stuff. You have a security architecture team where you invest to build a secure architecture, a secure DB, a secure network, and all of those things like building. So whatever comes under building, it goes into the security architecture team. So once you've decided, okay, so this is what I want to become, but you have to also look at what are the companies looking for. So I put together a few of those snippets from LinkedIn across different countries. So these are the kind of skills companies are looking at. They are looking at if you know the standards like PCI DSS, NIST, ISO 27001, or if you have the practical knowledge, like if you have internship experience, if you have any programming experience, or if you have been involved in any kind of digital forensics work, or in e-discovery, which is also a part of digital forensics. So there are different ways you can get into the industry. There can be a graduate program where you talk about, so where you show that, okay, you know the basics and you're really keen to learn. So that's when you get into the graduate program. That's how I got into KPMG, through a grad program. And then you have different trainees, which is the internship programs. Whenever you're studying, so in the Western countries, they have a very good concept of internship, like a part-time work where you study in the day and then over the weekend, or if not weekends. So here you don't have classes 7 days a week. You have classes mostly 2 to 3 days a week. And the other 2 days you go for your internship. So that means you are studying and you're also getting experience. And they like the companies here really appreciate that method actually. So the trainee job where you do an internship to gain experience, and then you can apply for a grad role once you've completed your master's. So now we've seen what are the companies looking for. So I don't know if you have noticed, so in all of the snippets, there are a few things common. That is the soft skills. So be it anywhere, people really look for soft skills, like your ability to communicate effectively, your ability to solve problems, your ability to work under pressure, and how proactive you are, or how willing you are to learn new things, or how you can work in a team. So those are the kind of characters the companies look for, because they, like in cybersecurity industry, what we think is a skill can be taught, but all these things, the soft skills, they should be in you, or they should be in you to a certain percentage where we can work on that and develop that. So I would really recommend that while you are studying, work on this kind of soft skills. Because once you have the soft skills, once you know how to communicate properly, because if you go to a very technical role, still you have to communicate with the stakeholders of a company. If you're in a consulting role like me, you have to talk to clients. So knowing how to communicate properly is always a plus, be it in a technical role or in a non-technical role. So once you know how to communicate, then they also look at, okay, so in a day, I personally deal with around 3 to 4 projects in a day. So you should also know how to work under pressure. And also while you're working in a team, how well you can communicate with the team members, or how well you can coordinate with your team members. Those are the kind of soft skills a company is looking for. Now it comes to technical skills. What are the few technical skills which you should have, which you should know to apply for a program? So programming skills. So I would recommend that you should know, if you're thinking of going for a cybersecurity or a digital forensics career, to know the basic programming skills, like for C, C++, Python, especially Python, because that's what we majorly use for any kind of pen testing. So once you have basic programming skills, it makes your life way easier. Then the security principles, which you learn through different frameworks, which I'll be covering off in the next few slides. You should know about what's the risk analysis. How do we do risk analysis? What are the network protocols? So networking. So networking is a very basic concept which the recruiters want you to know. Like the OSI model, different kinds of networks, different kinds of topology. So if you know those things and if you can display those skills in front of an employer, it really helps. And then we have scripting. So scripting is like, so you are doing a job which you can automate using a code. So, and then you build like 25 to 50 lines of code, which is not a very big code, but it can automate your job. So that's called scripting. And how do you script? You majorly use either the terminal code or we use Python. And again, here you need to know the basics of programming through Python or Java or C++. So, and if you know scripting, especially in the forensics area, you can make a breakthrough. I mean, not a breakthrough in sense, like you can get into a job very easily if you know scripting. And then you have forensic analysis. So within the forensic analysis, so forensic is a very vast subject, like especially like within cyber forensics, you have various different things. There is forensic data analysis, e-discovery, there is forensic, like the like once you hack, like the post-hack forensics. There are different kinds of forensic analysis. So you need to know what you want to specialize in. That will come when you do your master's. But again, in the forensics area, knowing scripting really helps, because when you are going through a data and the data count is like 1 million, you cannot go through each of them manually. You need to have an automated script which can help you go through the data quickly. And that's why knowing how to script is very important. Okay, so now I have learned a lot, I've learned a bit. How can I prove it? So for example, if you are interviewing for a company and you are like, hey, you know what? I know this stuff. I know how to do a pen testing, or I know how to audit a PCI compliance. They'll be like, prove me. So how do you prove it to them? One is through your higher education. Having a higher education is always a plus if you have not specialized in that area in your bachelor's. So for example, you guys are studying forensic science. I'm pretty sure you would graduate with a bachelor's in forensic science. So having a master's in cybersecurity and digital forensics would be really helpful for your career if you want to pursue your career in that stream. And be proactive and apply the knowledge. So I've seen so many people when I was in uni that they had their own projects, own labs set up, like they do a lot of different things in their personal life. And so how can you do that? So there is something called as Hack the Box. Then there's another one which I can't remember. So there is Immersive Labs, and all these platforms are free. If you want to learn how to pen test, all these platforms are free.